I'm Brett Baer. Welcome to Washington. President Obama says American aid worker Kayla Jean Mueller epitomized all that is good in our world. And he's vowing to bring her ISIS captors to justice. We received confirmation today that Mueller has died, although we do not know the circumstances. It comes as the president gets ready to involve Congress in the fight against the self-declared Islamic State. We have Fox Team coverage. Jennifer Griffin's at the Pentagon with renewed contributions to the coalition by the United Arab Emirates. Catherine Arridge is at Guantanamo Bay Naval Base with her sources and what they're saying about Mueller's death. But we begin with Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry and one more big reason tonight for the president to go after ISIS. Good evening, Ed.
That's right. Good evening, Brett. The president just did an interview with BuzzFeed in which he said that not paying ransom for American hostages is about as tough as anything he does as commander-in-chief. He also confirmed that he tried and failed to rescue Kayla Mueller and other hostages last summer, contending that he tried everything he could to try and save her.
Despite the grim revelation that Kayla Mueller became the fourth American hostage killed by ISIS since last summer, her family tried to focus on the positive, releasing a final letter in which Mueller movingly wrote she leaned on God in the most desperate hours and had, quote, a lot of fight left inside of me.
The world wants to be more like Kayla. And if that is her legacy and the footprint that she leaves on the world, then that is a wonderful thing.
Yet at the White House, spokesman Josh Earnest today strongly defended President Obama's comments to Vox.com, suggesting the media has overhyped the ISIS threat. The spokesman doubling down on the president's claim that climate change is a bigger threat to Americans than terror.
The point that the president is making is that there are many more people on an annual basis who have to confront the impact, the direct impact on their lives of climate change or on the spread of a disease than on terrorism.
Earnest also defended the president's claim that zealots randomly shot folks at a deli in Paris last month, when in fact it was a kosher market where Jews were targeted. The press secretary claiming at one point this was a dispute over where the adverb randomly was placed in the president's sentence.
These individuals were not targeted by name. This is the point.
The point actually was that the people were targeted because of their religion, though Jen Psaki at the State Department inaccurately suggested not all of the victims at the market were Jewish, when in fact all four were.
Well, as you know, I believe if I remember the victims specifically, there were not all victims of one background or one nationality. So,
pressed on whether it was an anti-Jewish attack, Psaki would not comment, even though back on January 11th, the Jerusalem Post quoted U.S. officials as saying they joined France in declaring the attack had targeted Jews. Another State Department official declaring at the time, quote, we condemn in the strongest terms yesterday's cowardly anti-Semitic assault against the innocent people in the kosher supermarket. The president said the opposite in the Vox.com interview.
He said, I'm sort of like a big city mayor. Is that the president trying to downplay the threat?
And the president devotes significant periods of his day on a regular basis to confronting the threat that is posed by ISIL, by al-Qaeda affiliates, and by other organizations around the globe that seek to do harm to the American people.
Despite those efforts, ISIS has now spread to Afghanistan, even though U.S. General John Campbell told CBS's 60 Minutes last month that Afghan security forces would not let that happen. Yet U.S. officials confirmed today a Taliban commander who was released from Gitmo had become a recruiter for ISIS in Afghanistan before being killed Monday by an American drone strike. Another reason Republicans today said they'll dig into the details of the president's new authorization for the use of military force against ISIS.
For the past 6 years, the administration's consistent dithering has made the world less, not more safe. And it is high time that the president and his team articulate a clear and coherent strategy.
Meanwhile, today the administration closed its embassy in Yemen just months after the president claimed that country was an example of his counter-terror policies working and being a success. Well, tonight Josh Earnest is clarifying on Twitter that yes, the attack in Paris was motivated by anti-Semitism, and the president did not mean to suggest otherwise. Brett?
More on this with the panel. Ed Henry live in the North.